Welcome to the Daily Jerry Anderson podcast, which today sees the presenter having breathing difficulties. A small piece of matter appears to be lodged in his windpipe. Could it be his wages? Can he carry on? Will the shoe continue? Will he collapse? No.
Stop that.
I can't help it.
Stop that. I had that for the last 20
No,
minutes.
I don't have anything. What happened was that at 20 minutes past 10, whilst I was upstairs having my meagre Spartan breakfast, which consists of a gravy ring and a cup of tea that's too strong, I was inhaling a little gravy ring and it went down my windpipe. And could I get it out again? Did you hear me spluttering?
It's gone now. It's all right.
It's
now.
not. It's still there.
It's gone.
Look,
Stop
it's still
it.
there. And I was on the point of having to abandon this programme about 25 minutes past 10, and whilst you sat in the corner laughing at my discomfort. And it's not easy for me, now that I'm
You look tired today.
I am tired.
Yes, you
I've
look
had a
tired.
hard weekend.
You look tired.
I am tired.
Did you have a good night on Saturday night?
I had a great night on Saturday.
Yes,
Where was
so
I?
yeah.
Where was I?
I'm not saying.
Oh, never you mind where I was.
I don't.
You don't care where I was.
Because I know and you don't.
I can't remember where I was.
But I do.
I remember up to a certain point,
Yes, I know.
and then everything seemed to go black.
Yes, the man phoned us this morning.
Do you hear me? Do you hear that? Trying to get the stuff out of my windpipe. Do you know, what kind of a man is God? Because
Stop that talk.
No, do you know...
Stop that.
There's certain
Stop
things...
that. No, you're
no.
going to trouble with that.
No, well, if you
Stop
decide to make a human being...
that. Stop it.
If you decide to make a human being, you don't make mistakes.
That's right.
What?
No one forced you to eat the gravy ring, Emma
Oh,
said.
excuse me, Emma?
Yes.
Turning on me?
Yes.
Oh,
she's
so
right.
you've been working on her. She was
No,
the only
I
one.
have not.
Oh, you've really got Janet against me. Now you're working Emma like me. And now you've turned her against me.
No.
You have. Because she just peeped up there for no reason. Shouldn't have had it. You know what I mean? She wouldn't have done that last week. So now you've been working on her over the weekend.
No.
Yes, you have.
I think
Telling
the
her
girls,
lies about me.
I think the girls now see the mean side of you. Coming in here with one gravy ring.
No, but
one,
you see,
you
they
can
don't
bring in
remember.
3 gravy rings, one for Emma, one for Janet, and one for you.
Get away.
Yeah, oh, too much.
There was
yeah.
a time when I did that.
Well,
but
why don't you buy 2 gravy rings and then alternate between Janet
No.
and Emma? Give Emma. Do you know what I mean?
Give them a turn each.
Yeah.
Give them a turn each. That's a good idea, Sean.
Yes,
Thanks for
yes,
that. Look, listen.
Ah, stop it. Take a drink of water.
I drank a water. It's no good. The water doesn't go down your windpipe. It goes down the other one. You see, whenever God made
I
human...
would like to see you with a serious complaint. I really would.
Whenever God made human
Stop it.
beings, he made basic mistakes. Now, do you want? Give me. I can think of 2 basic mistakes that he made, and it's wrong. Right? I mean, why do we have to go to the toilet? Why? Why couldn't he have designed us? We didn't have to do that. That everything that we ate would be consumed. Why does he? Why do we have to
it's
get
a
rid of stuff?
It's a pity in your case, otherwise you'd have made a lovely ornament.
And the other thing is, for some reason best known to himself, he placed a windpipe next to the esophagus.
Well, you could have put your mouth in your stomach.
Why didn't he put his esophagus round behind our ear? Where no, the fags go.
Put your mouth down there in your belly and just shovel everything in.
I seen a fella the other day, and he had something. Did I talk about this before? He had a fag behind his ear. Did I talk about this?
No.
When was the last time you seen a man with a fag behind his ear? The presenter has become a grandfather. He's not sure if he likes it or not. After all, it is a milestone that he could do without. Others, of course, are keen to discuss it. Dear walks with a bus pass, says Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan. Our grandsons call their other set of grandparents Granny and Granda, so we are called Nana and Papa. No doubt to differentiate us when they're writing their outrageous Christmas lists. I recommend this naming system as it makes us feel a bit more sophisticated and middle class like what you are. Grandchildren bring great delight. We're always delighted to wave them goodbye. When they've stayed over, terrorised the cat, emptied the fridge and wrecked the house. Congratulations and good luck. Thank you. And I'd like to thank you all for congratulating me and my grandfather done. And it's an unusual thing. You've been there, of course, before.
Yeah.
Why do some TV stations, CNN in particular, place a very small newsreader in front of a huge wall of television monitors? Are they bragging, showing off? Did you ever notice that?
What name have you chosen?
Excuse me?
What name have you chosen? Are you Granda? Plain and simple Granda?
No.
What are you?
I'm Jerry.
He's going to call you Jerry.
No,
he
is not
sorry,
a he.
Sorry. Your granddaughter is going to call you Jerry.
The child has had no chance to think about this, as she is only 3 days old.
Yes.
And
Yeah, but, it's usually the grandparents decide this.
Did you ever see a film called A Solitary Man with Michael Douglas?
You're going to be Jerry. Oh, don't be Jerry. Be
No,
Granda.
I don't know what I'm going to be. I'm going to be what people decide I'm going to be. I have no say in it.
Be Granda.
you ever see a film called A Solitary Man with Michael Douglas in it?
Well, you need to tell me what it's about because I don't know titles.
I know you don't. I'm going to tell you. No, it's from a Johnny Cash song, funnily enough, as we just played Johnny Cash.
I wish you would stop that.
I can't help it. Have you no sympathy?
No.
Have you no common decency? Can you not say that man's struggling in there? That man's choking alternatively and not able to breathe hardly? And look at him, continuing on with his Radio Ulster programme because why? Because he wants to, because the listeners want him. Because the listeners, some of them are back at work today, especially the people in the Belfast holidays. People who went up to Donegal over the last 2 weeks and drunk themselves stupid are now back at work again today. Anyway, do you hear that? You see, I'm constantly in difficulty. Well, there's a movie called A Solitary Man. This is apropos what we're talking about. And he's a man, kind of, Michael Douglas, being the age that he is, and his character, he's a car salesman. And his life is unravelling around him. Mm-hmm. But he's very, like myself, he's very attractive to the opposite sex. And he cannot resist this. And he has a grandchild. And he's separated and that kind of thing. And all these women kind of, throw themselves at him. You know the way you've seen it happen to me. So he's out with his little grandchild one time. He's going into this park, this kind of recreation area, and there's mothers there. There's one particularly attractive mother standing, looking after her little child. And the mother looks over at him, not unmistakable look.
Yes.
That look, she looks at him. And the wee fella, his little child, says, "Granda!" And Michael Douglas says, "Call me Pete."
You told us, you told us that on Thursday.
Shut up. The death of Amy Winehouse came as a shock to those who didn't know her, but probably not to those who did. The presenter once had occasion to be in her vicinity. I met her, I met her just before she became famous. It was in the year 2004. I remember it particularly well. And her first album, I think, was out 2003. And then her big album, which was, I think, was out the year after that. Anyway, she was just coming to people's attention.
Yes.
And I was at an award ceremony in London. I was nominated for something, And I was standing at the bar, and there was this girl standing at the bar who was incredibly attractive. And it turned out it was Amy Winehouse. She was standing there at the bar, just waiting to order a drink. She was on her own. And she wasn't the emaciated thinness that she became later. She was well proportioned. She was really beautiful. She really was. Lovely white alabaster skin, lovely dark hair, and wearing a lovely black dress.
Now, does this story end with her following you into the toilet and asking you for the loan of a tenner?
You're so sarcastic. It doesn't end like that. I'm going to tell you how it's going to end now in a minute. Okay. You see, that's what I hate about you. You see, you can't listen to me. You don't believe anything I say. Well, you have reason to not to believe, but you don't listen to anything I say. I'm being serious now.
Right.
And that's and she was standing at the bar, and I remember looking at her and saying, "That's that girl, Amy Winehouse. She's a jazz singer." At that time, that's what she was known as, a jazz singer. I went, "She's lovely," and I'm standing looking at her, and she looks around her, and guess who comes walking in? David Walliams. Do you know who David Walliams is? You don't.
Emma does.
Emma, know who David Walliams is?
She says yes. Yes.
Don't snap at me like that.
What?
Don't snap at me.
You're
very sharp today.
No, you're on a short fuse.
I'm not.
Yes, Emma said it's you, and I
no,
agree.
She snapped at me earlier.
You see, it's you.
No, you've made her. You've told her that I'm on a short fuse.
No, you are on a short fuse today.
Anyway, he walks by with his girlfriend, and he's a very good-looking guy, and a very good-looking girl. And she turns around and she calls him everything, and I couldn't repeat what she called him. She said, yeah, this kind of stuff, and I'm going, my God, listen to her. And I looked round and everybody was kind of looking, and she stood there and she put her hands on her hips. She said, "You're nothing but a union woman." And I went, "What is this?" So there's evidence there of a little instability, I think, at the beginning. Obviously, he'd gone out with her, or whatever it was, and dumped her, or whatever it was. But, I mean, to stand there, and amazing. And she didn't seem drunk or anything. She just seemed like a wild kind of a person.
It's her father I feel sorry for.
Pardon?
It's her father I feel
oh, of
sorry
course,
for.
Yeah, terrible.
He could see it coming.
Oh, well, he knew it. He's probably been lying awake for years waiting for that call.
Anyway, there's a call for you, and someone has suggested that you take a dry crust to clear your throat. You're driving people mad.
Well, perhaps someone would get me a dry crust. I can't leave here.
Well, why not just take a glass of water? If we ask Janet to bring you in a glass of water.
Ask Janet, can I have a glass of water and a dry crust? It's not too much to ask. I think Oliver Twist would have asked for that. Whilst the world turns and great cataclysmic events unfold, we find Coyless Interruptus doing what he has done since the beginning of time, namely sitting in pubs, humouring men.
A man sat beside me over the weekend.
Yes. All weekend?
No, he came over. I think it was on Friday night.
It stayed to Sunday.
Yes. It was on Friday night, and I was sitting there, minding my own business, but chatting to the company.
As you do, of course.
And there was a space beside me in the bar, you see.
A man occupied it.
And a man came over, and a man planked himself down.
And started to talk.
No, he just said to me, he says, ask him about the drill. I said, what? Ask him about the drill.
The drill.
This was the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I says, what? Ask who?
Cryptic.
I said, who? He says,
him.
Anderson.
Ask him about
the drill.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean the drill? He said, ask him about the task that was set him. When you were a young man, an apprentice engineer, or an apprentice toolmaker, an apprentice toolmaker.
I was an apprentice toolmaker. He says, a big mistake.
Right? So he says, ask him about the drill that he took apart. And he got up and walked away. So I'm now asking you about the drill that you took apart when you were an apprentice tool. What's that about? Well, he got up and walked away.
I know, but you see, he understood what I understand. That, do you ever see a man that was put in the wrong job?
Yes, we know. Yes.
I was in the wrongest job in the world. So people used to look at me in amazement at the things that I was asked to do. See, the people who became apprentice toolmakers were people who were interested in making tools. I, of course, was never interested and only took the job because it was forced upon me. And I didn't know what it was. So I went down with the rest of them and they gave me a pair of green overalls. I said, what's this? They said, you'll have to wear that. I said, why? It's because you'll be working at the dirty things. I went, what? And then first thing they said, there are some sheets of metal out there. Bring them in.
Yeah.
And I said, but it's raining. And they said, there are some sheets of metal out there. Bring them in.
Right.
So we had to go out and bring them in. And it was also freezing the night before, so they were stuck together with the frost. And I went in and I said, are there any gloves? He said, no. So I hurt my hands and everything.
So what's this story about the drill?
All I'm just saying, I'm just trying to... It's a preamble. I'm trying to explain to you how wrong this job was for me.
Yes, we know.
Well, they had a drill thing.
Right.
And
like a Black & Decker said, no, bzzz.
No, it's a thing that goes down like this, kind of a big handle
big
thing.
pulley downy thing.
Yeah.
It drills into the metal.
Yeah.
Right.
But there was an element, an attachable element from it, not just the drill, the bit itself, but a real detachable element. And they thought it would be good if we could understand.
Strip it down and put it back together again. Oh, gee.
Could you imagine?
No, you can take it apart.
But see, everybody else did it.
Yes, you can. But you
and I just sat there and I looked at it. And I said, what is... Why, it was great the way it was. Why did you break it? He said, no, we didn't break it. See, what you do is, but it was okay, why didn't you just leave it alone? Yeah. So we want you to put it back together again. I said, what's the point of that? Because, it was all right. Yeah. Why didn't you just leave it alone? And I would have went and had a cup of tea. There'd be no word about it. This is just unnecessary work. So everybody stood around and watched me put it together.
And you couldn't?
No way.
No, I don't criticise you or fault you for that in the least.
No, but the one that actually finished me was, maybe he means this. He may mean this. The thing that happened to me, that I was sacked because of this, and he may mean this. They gave us a big square of metal. Well, not a big square. I'd say about 4 inches by 4 inches. Which is
this before. I told us. He keeps telling the same story. I know, he told us it before. Tell me who's on one. There's a call on one.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Jerry?
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm not all right at all. I've been stopped telling stories.
Aye, well, have you quit the sheet metal working now, have you?
I've stopped telling stories.
Tell me this. I didn't get ringing you on Friday.
You see, there are people out there want to know that story. And I guarantee that people are going to ring here and they'll say, what was that story he was just about to tell? And you stopped him telling. What do you say?
Right.
What do you say?
Right, okay, we'll see.
Is that the phone I hear ringing?
No.
Yeah, are you still there?
Yes. A letter floods in from a listener, purportedly from France. Paris, where strange things not only occur, but are positively commonplace. I was out at the weekend in a park in Paris when my little red-headed toddler son, when this elderly woman started cooing over him and was down on her hunkers talking away to him. Meanwhile, I was watching from a distance. It's only after I made my way towards them on the left that I realised it was Jane Birkin. Isn't that good? That's from Deirdre Phillips. She seemed very nice. That's the one. What you would have said to the baby. Hello, little baby. Je t'aime, my little baby. Je t'aime. What are we man today? Je
What
t'aime.
about Patsy?
Can't you see I'm doing Jane, what do you call her? Serge Gainsbourg. What do you call her? Jane Birkin talking to a baby. Je t'aime. I got you with a wee man a day. Je t'aime, baby, merci. Anyway, sorry about that. I'm away on a hack. I'll see you next Sunday then. Well, come up and say hello, will you? Hello? He's gone.
Patsy hung up. Because you ignored Patsy completely.
I was coming back to her. She should have known
not.
that.
No.
She should have known I was coming back.
Poor Patsy had to hang up.
She should have known I was coming back.
No.
For God's sake, these people.
You do that all the time.
I know I do.
I was talking to a man. I was over the weekend, and I was in his company for a couple of hours. And during that time, you're chatting, exchanging stories, right?
Yeah.
Every time I want to tell a story or to say something, he interrupted me.
Isn't it terrible?
It's shocking. And he kept. It was such a bad listener. It was a bad listener, and that's what you are. You don't listen.
Can't listen at all.
No.
I have no time to listen.
And there was times, and then I got to the stage, I said, no, I'll just go with the flow. I'll start the story knowing that I'm not going to get finishing it. And I would say, I remember the one time, like I was in England, and I met this fella, and then he would say, well, see, when we were in England, I'll tell you what happened to us in England. You know, it's so annoying, people interrupt me.
It's very annoying. I don't know why people do it.
And neither do I. People who do not listen.
People do it all the time.
Well, they should stop it.
And why don't you stop it? For instance, now, people will never hear that story that I was going to tell.
What story was that?
It's the one that you stopped me telling. Look, what's wrong with this thing here? This thing won't start. I hate this. It always happens before 12.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. No. Back tomorrow. Thank you for listening.